Thank you, Makbul. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I welcome everyone once again to this event, Fast with Muslim. I would be beginning my presentation with Arabic recitation, so please bear with me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. The verse of the Holy Qur'an which I have recited is from chapter 2, verse 186. This verse was recited in the beginning as well. The translation is, O ye who believe, fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those who were before you, so that you may become righteous. So the verse of the Holy Quran is highlighting how fasting is prescribed, it is obligatory upon Muslims. And then it says that this is not something new. Fasting was there even before Islam. People who belong to other faiths, they used to fast, and even now they fast. And then the last portion of the verse says, so that you may become righteous. It also mentions the benefits, so that you may become righteous, improve yourself spiritually and morally. Now, when I say that, when the Holy Quran says that fasting is prescribed for those who are before you. For example, in Judaism, Yom Kippur is the day of self-denial. It is a day of the Day of Atonement. It is mentioned in Leviticus, in which Jews fast. Moses fasted for 40 days. It is mentioned in Exodus. Jesus fasted for 40 days. It is also mentioned in Matthew's. In Hinduism, fasting is known as upvas. There are certain days on which Hindus, they fast. In Buddhism as well, fasting is there. So fasting was there. Now, the purpose of fasting was also the same. For example, in Christianity, it says that the purpose of fasting is self-humiliation and repentance. In Judaism, for example, as I said, Yom Kippur, it is the day of self-denial on which, so that Jews are cleansed of their sins. What is righteousness? Same thing. Not only that, but fasting also teaches us patience. It also teaches us to understand the pain of those who are suffering in hunger. Fasting is a practice. We are abstaining from food and water. It is a practice. It is a practice. It is a gesture that, oh God, as for your pleasure, we are abstaining from food and water, which are lawful for us. And for your pleasure, we're abstaining from all those things just like that. For your pleasure, we will abstain from unlawful things as well. This is the practice. To explain this further, I'm going to read a passage from the writings of the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, peace be upon him, who is the promised Messiah and Imam Mahdi and who claimed to be the second coming of Jesus. He says that fasting is not merely staying hungry and thirsty. Rather, its reality and its impact can only be gained through experience. It is human nature that the less one eats, the more one's spirit is purified, and thus his capacity for spiritual vision increases. The will of God is to decrease one kind of sustenance and to increase the other. A person who is fasting should always be mindful that he is not just required to stay hungry. On the contrary, he should remain engaged in the remembrance of God so that he can cut asunder ties of worldly desires and amusements and is wholly devoted to God. Hence, the significance of fasting is this alone, that man gives up one kind of sustenance which only nourishes the body and attains the other kind of sustenance which is a source of comfort and gratification for the soul. How beautifully explained. So this is the reason why we fast. So that we improve ourselves spiritually and morally. Now, I should also explain that as per the Holy Qur'an, fasting is not prescribed for those who are sick. You have to be healthy. That's when you fast. If you're sick, you must not fast. Look, how one can attain the pleasure of God. One can attain the pleasure of God through obeying God. If God says you fast, we're going to fast. If He says if you're sick, don't fast, we will not fast. If one is traveling, he must not fast as well. Similarly, fasting is not obligatory upon children. As per the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, fasting is obligatory from the age of 18 and onward. This is the age when fasting should be considered obligatory upon an individual. Now, I would also like to explain some of the components of the month of Ramadan. Now, in the month of Ramadan, as you know, that it is the 9th month of Islamic calendar. And Islamic calendar is based on the moon rather than the sun. And fasting is one of the pillars of Islam. Just as 5 daily prayer is, fasting is also one of the pillars of Islam, meaning that it is one of the foundational worships of Islam. So during the month of Ramadan, when Muslims are fasting, you know that they have to fast from dawn till sunset. Now, there are other components as well. In the month of Ramadan, worship is increased than the normal days. For example, reading the holy book, the Holy Qur'an. Because as per the Holy Qur'an, the book, the Holy Qur'an, was revealed in the month of Ramadan. It started revealing in the month of Ramadan and it ended its revelation in the month of Ramadan as well. So it's more blessing to read the Holy Qur'an in the month of Ramadan more than the normal days. Then before dawn, as I said, that at that time, uh, at dawn, Muslims they eat, and before that, after midnight, Muslims are required on normal days as well, but especially in the month of Ramadan, they should get up early at night and they should offer prayers. It is known as tahajjud prayer or supererogatory prayers. After that, they should eat, which is known as sahri or suhoor in Islamic terms. And then they should go to mosque for the regular prayer, and then they can come back. Now, for those who cannot offer the tahajjud prayer, as I said, which is the voluntary prayer after midnight, that same prayer in the month of Ramadan only can also be offered before midnight as well. So you would probably witness that Muslims, they go to the mosque at night and they come back home late from mosques. So in the month of Ramadan, they are offering that prayer, which is known as Taraweeh prayer. Then, when it comes to breaking the fast, that time is known as iftar. Then there's another component of the month of Ramadan, and that is itikaf, seclusion. You don't have to do it, but it's an extra worship. Muslims do it all over the world. It is that the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan, Muslims, they spend those 10 days in the mosques, in seclusions, which is known as itikaf. And the purpose is the same, increase worship. So they stay in the mosque. Well, nowadays we can't do that due to the pandemic. But in normal days, nowadays Muslims are doing that at home, but in normal days it must be done in the mosque. So this is another component of the month of Ramadan. So having said that, I'm going to read another passage from Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the worldwide head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, the Khalifa of Islam. He explains fasting and the purpose of fasting. He says, when fasting is based on righteousness, it produces a beautiful society, creating a spirit of sacrifice for each other. One is drawn to the needs of one's underprivileged brothers. And this is very important because it was the blessed model of the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace and blessings of God be upon him, that during the Ramadan, his almsgiving and charity would gain intense momentum like a gale storm. This becomes a source of removing anxiety from society and creates feelings of empathy for the less fortunate among those who are well off, and feelings of love and gratefulness in the hearts of underprivileged brothers for their well off brothers. This is the purpose. Spirituality, increase in morality, taking care of others, feeling the pain of those who are suffering. This is fasting, and this is what it teaches us. And this is the message which we get out of the month of Ramadan. I once again thank everyone for being part of this event. Thank you very much. Back to you, Makbul.